Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone out there, wherever you might be. Welcome to another episode of the Casual Takes podcast. I'm Greg Coleman, and I'm back. I'm back from a little hiatus that I took from doing any sports content or anything of that nature, but we're right back on schedule. We're going to be getting into everything Eagles, Sixers, whatever you can name it, I've got it for y'all. And although I did take a hiatus from doing any sports content, I was still watching the games. I saw exactly what transpired this past Sunday against the Giants, where we walked out with the W. And really, in the Kelly Green, you can never lose. The record shows that we're undefeated with them on, and I felt good beforehand going into this game that we were going to walk out with the win, but we were also going to win pretty comfortably as well. And my advice for Giants fans, as you have been awfully quiet lately, you're having some bright spots this year. I have to remind y'all though, y'all are 2-6. Do not let that Thursday game fool y'all into thinking that y'all are in the same tier as us as a football team. Clearly have the better roster. We have better coaches. We have better athletes. We have better fans. Be humble. Please be humble. And take whatever win that y'all can get, as they do come quite scarce, as your record shows. Just saying, just saying. Into the game, first drive, the Eagles set the tone fairly early on Saquon's first carry. He takes it to the house for a 65-yard touchdown. Longest run of the season up to this point for Saquon Barkley. And there's more to follow from that. 3 minutes into the game, Jackson Dart would find Cam Scattervoo for an 18-yard receiving touchdown, and it put some pressure onto the Birds' defense. Did they figure out our defense, or really were we going to see exactly what we saw that Thursday night? Saquon wouldn't be done, though. Saquon would score his second touchdown of the game, courtesy of a 9-yard pass from Jalen Hurts, which will give us a 14-7 lead. Up to this point now, Saquon now has a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. Right before the half ends, the Eagles would get the ball back, and in my opinion, a very, very impressive 2-minute drill, Jalen Hurts would find Dallas Goedert to go into halftime up 2 scores. After a strong showing in the third quarter defensively, it was time to put it away. It was time to put it away. After Tank Bigsby would save us from a 2nd and 26 deficit, which ended up being one of the marquee moments of the game, I would say. Jalen would find Dallas Goedert for his second touchdown of the game, and really we were just piling it on from this point. Once again, the defense holds fair after this scoring drive. Offense goes back out in the field, and really what I would say would be the dagger of this game would be a Jahan Dodson head tap catch, which ended up putting the game away from there. We convincingly win this game 38-20. And you really could argue about two big calls in this game, whether the tush push fumble caused by Kayvon Thibodeau. I did think that was a fumble, and it should have been called in the Giants' favor. Or you could also argue against that phantom Darius Slayton pass interference call. I don't think that was a pass interference call either, hence why I said phantom. Regardless of whether those calls were called or not, it wouldn't have been close. It still wouldn't have made a difference in the game. The Giants still got that belt. Needless to say, my takeaways from this game is this is not only a great revenge game, but it is a great way to go into the bye week. It is just really great energy, buzzing all around, great vibes all around. And going against a rival, especially a rival that we got personally got the belt to, there's always going to be high emotion. And with especially with these new guys in New York, there's just a lot of energy buzzing on the Giants side of things. Giants are one of the teams that I would say I dislike the most. I mean, you have the Cowboys, the Giants are up there. Commanders are obviously up there too. All of my division rivals are always going to be up there. 49ers are in the mix as well. Who else do I dislike? Patriots, I would throw them in there too, but maybe Tom Brady era of Patriots. But those are teams that I dislike, and I always feel like there's going to be some higher energy every time we play any of those teams at our primes. At our primes, I would say. Needless to say, apart from all of that, it feels great to win the way that we did. It feels great to give the Giants the belt, and really, it felt like our most complete game of the year. I've been saying off from all of my episodes that the best is yet to come for the Eagles, and they were going to really have their most complete showing from my past predictions. And I'm happy that they came this time around against the second time around, I should say, against the Giants. The best is yet to come, and I wholeheartedly agree with that statement. I said that we were elite. That's ringing more true every single week, regardless of what y'all want to say about our loss to the Broncos or the Giants. We have the best record in the NFC. We're 6-2, and that there are a lot of positives going into the bye. And there was a lot that went right this past Sunday, but I think there's a lot that's trending upward for the Eagles right now. As I said before, this was probably the Eagles' most complete game up to this point this year. We're going to start with the offense, though, as they had 427 total yards. They felt fully in sync on all levels, whether you want to talk about the rushing attack, you want to talk about the passing attack, you want to talk about our offensive line, you want to talk about the play calls. It just felt like everything just made sense for us today. And with the rushing attack, as I have to start with them, this is the best game that we've seen from the rushing attack this entire season. 276 yards on the ground, 8.4 yards per carry, which probably could have been more if you count out the kneels that we made or even just some of the garbage time runs that we made. Saquon Barkley, who had his best game up to this point this year, 174 yards on the ground, 10.7 yards per carry, and then one touchdown to go with that. But Tank Bigsby as well. He ended up having his breakout game this year. He relieved Saquon in the second half due to injury, and there's more to check on that, but I think he should be good. Tank Bigsby had 104 yards, 11.6 yards per carry, and that big run that I mentioned on 2nd and 26 really paid dividends to opening up the field. And that's really the identity of this offense. But I also have to give credit to the offensive line, as when you have a good offensive line, you're going to have a good rushing attack about 90% of the time. And they were instrumental as to why the running attack broke out the way they did this year. It helps having Landon Dickerson back at guard and having him, I would say, mostly healthy. But I got to give a shout out to Brett Toth. Starting at center, filled in for Cam Jurgens at the center position. And I don't think he was best necessarily, whether he was playing guard or playing tackle, at taking those one-on-ones. And what he did best today was being able to double team, being able to feed off of one-on-ones that the guards were taking. And he also did well on some one-on-one situation as well, too, if that wasn't his main thing that he needed to do. Most importantly, though, was that he looked really good in terms of the run scheme. Once Cam Jurgens comes back, that will say a lot in terms of how our running game and our passing game is balanced. But like I said, like I said, credit to Brett Toth, credit to Landon Dickerson, credit to Jordan Mailata, credit to everybody on that offensive line, as that's been our identity. Jeff Stoutland University, etc., etc. It's been a key as to why we've been successful in the past. Most importantly, though, I've been giving credit to the offensive line. I've been giving credit to the rushing attack. Shout out to my GOAT. Shout out to my GOAT, Jalen Hurts. After a strong showing last week against the Vikings, he went out and had another strong showing. 179 yards in the air, 4 touchdowns, and almost a perfect passer rating this time, as he had a 141.5 passer rating, which is still really good. Still really good. And really, it's the player that I know Jalen Hurts to be. And whether y'all getting put in notice or not, he's going to continue to do this in the entire season. I don't predict, I spoil. So don't be surprised if Jalen starts to creep up more and more and more into this MVP conversation. As I might throw him in there at 7 touchdowns in the past 2 games. Can't argue with that. And that's going to be trending upwards with especially with how this offense is starting to gel. And so with the way that my quarterback is playing, like he said, the best is yet to come. With credit to the play calling, Jalen seemed to do all the right things this past Sunday. He said himself that the best is yet to come, and we're seeing that especially with him under center. I expect him to line up under center a lot more often. I expect it to trend upwards. I think they looked at how he's lining up in the shotgun and seeing how predictable we were, whether we're going to run or pass, that lining up in different ways adds more fluidity to this offense. We are able to find more cohesion in the play calling. And really, it allows our offense to thrive in that aspect. And it is really a simple concept. The way that you line up, the way that you're able to mix it up on both the air or in the ground, that shows defenses that it's really hard. Jalen said himself that the best is yet to come, and we're seeing exactly that with him lined up under center. When Jalen was lined up mostly in or majority shotgun, it was easy to predict what we were going to run. You could tell we were going to pass. You could tell we were going to throw. You could tell who we were going to as well. When Jalen had lined up under center and being able to line up in different formations for the offense, it mixes it up. It adds fluidity to the offense. Defenses don't know what we're going to run. And I think finding this cohesion in the play calling, in the scheme, it allows for the offense to thrive in it. And really, this concept seems very simple, but it hasn't necessarily for the Eagles' offense up to this point. And so I'm very glad that this is trending upwards. The narrative that Jalen can't throw or he needs a super team is blasphemy. It is blasphemy. AJ Brown was out this game, and so you can't credit him for helping out Jalen Hurts. This is the first game that we've seen a rushing attack break out. I mean, last game against the Vikings, he had a stellar performance. He had a perfect passer rating. And the rushing attack wasn't as successful as they were this week as they were last week. I mean, it wasn't even close. And so he's gone back to back weeks as well, in which he has outperformed the opponent. And little hint for y'all as well. He's been doing this often this entire season, and it really isn't going to change either. Guys stepped up when their name was called, as I got to shout out Jahan Dotson, Darius Cooper, Devontae Smith, especially for being in that wide receiver one role, as he usually isn't, but he is a proven wide receiver one in this league if it wasn't for the Eagles. Just saying. This may be the best game that we've seen to date up to this point, as I've been talking about it for the past weeks, whether or not it was going to hit. And this offense has a lot to be proud of this Sunday. And I'm very proud of the way that they've probably been listening to what I've been saying for them to have a complete game. And finally it happens. And I don't think this is our only complete game either. So stay tuned for that. When talking about how good the Eagles offense did this past Sunday and how complete of a game they showed, you also got to give credit to the defense as well, as good defense translates to an even better offense. And in a game where our defense had its worst performance, I got to give credit to the defense for being able to show a different side of them and able to figure out how to adjust from that showing against the Giants Thursday. They looked at the tape, they saw what went wrong, and asked themselves, how can I go out and fix it? And they went and did just that. The biggest adjustment that was made in this game was on Jackson Dart specifically. In the first matchup, which was Jackson Dart's third career game, he seemed very, very comfortable in the pocket, and we really didn't know how to figure him out. He was able to make timely throws. He was able to run all over us, especially. And this time around, it was a completely different showing against Jackson Dart. He didn't have that same type of success. They found a way to make Jackson Dart uncomfortable in this game, or really the entire game. And we ended up sacking him 5 times. So that shows you that he wasn't having the same success in the pocket or being able to run around in the pocket as well. And we kept making big plays in the game to only surrender the Giants to 13 points. If you want to be technical, they did score 20, but that was because of a garbage time touchdown. And so, really, there's a lot to be happy about with this defense as well. We get a lot of guys back after the bye week, and really, I feel like the best is yet to come with this Eagles defense too. And we're gonna see a lot of that going into the bye week and going out of the bye week too. And really, I think the defense is the MVP of this Eagles team as a whole, as they have gone through a huge amount of adversity throughout these past 8 weeks. We find ourselves at 6-2, and so something is going right, and it's been consistently the defense. With our offense trending upwards in the right direction and having their best game to date, with the defense having really a strong showing and really having a consistent showing over the course of our 8 games up to this point, there is a lot to be happy about. But I think the biggest thing to be happy about, or really the most important thing, is that this Eagles team gets healthier. Brandon Graham will be back more than likely, or more than likely he should be up to game speed upon the bye. But we also get Nolan Smith back as well upon the bye, as he'll probably be back. And the reason why I mentioned Brandon Graham and Nolan Smith is that they add depth to our edge rush. And really, it's been a weak spot in the Eagles defense, as there's a reason why Jackson Dart had a lot of success in that Thursday game. But it's also been a reason why quarterbacks have been somewhat comfortable in the Eagles' pocket as well. And I expect that to change with these two coming back, being able to fine tune that side of things on the edge rush. In terms of something else that I expect to improve upon the bye week is our secondary. We get in Ja'Cory Embedded back more than likely, and he's arguably been our second best corner up to this point this year as well. And having him back, I expect their defense to trend upwards in the right direction. But it also is able to add help to our secondary as well. As I haven't had a lot of trust in Adoree Jackson, and I haven't had a lot of trust in Keely Ringo as well. And so it's good that we're going to have Ja'Cory Bennett back. The offensive line is also getting healthier as well, and they haven't been the healthiest up to this point this year as well. And we're largely going to have them back at full strength. Cam Jurgens will more likely be back. Landon Dickerson will be fully, or not fully healed, but he'll be a lot healthier than he has been these past couple of weeks, as it has clearly shown on the football field. And so, really, who the offensive line who has struggled up to this point this year, I expect them to be the identity of Jeff Stoutland University that we've known them to be for the past 5 years, I want to say. Biggest concern that I have, or the biggest question that I have going into the bye week, is the play calling going to improve? In the Giants game, we only had one three and out, and that's something to be very, very happy, very, very pleased about. Why we only had one three and out is because the defense kept guessing the entire game. They didn't know what we were going to call. They didn't know whether it was going to be a run or a pass. And we kept mixing up formations. We kept mixing up play calls. And we kept mixing up schemes to help us win. I don't have any huge trust, or I don't have glaring confidence in Kevin Patullo. But I trust him to look at the tape, look at his mistakes, and figure out, how can I clean it up? How can I save my job? Or potentially, as has been the trend with our offensive coordinators, get a new job. And so I think he'll be the biggest question going into the bye week, as it'll really pay dividends for how successful we can be over the course of this year. What version of the Eagles are we going to get? Are we going to be getting the same somewhat lackluster offense that we've been seeing in some moments this year? Are we going to be getting a defense that, although they have been largely consistent this year, they can show potential to be soft as well, as we saw that against the Giants, and then we saw that in our collapse against the Broncos as well. And so, upon the bye, we get a very, very good test. And really, I think it'll be a very big test for the remainder of the season. It'll really speak volumes to what type of Eagles team we're going to get. Are we going to be getting the finer tuned Eagles team that really I predict them to be? Or is it going to be an example of, some of the past episodes that I've been talking about, where good teams, they know how to go into the drawing board, be able to fine tune themselves, and come out stronger. Not so good teams, they continue to make those same mistakes, and they are really who we thought them to be. And so my casual take is, not only do the Eagles trend upward, but I think we see a different fire in this Eagles team come the second half. We've seen how they've played up to this point, and although they are 6-2, we know that there is a lot of potential in this Eagles offense. There's a lot of potential in this Eagles defense. There's a lot of potential in the special teams, really all three phases of the game. And the ongoing theme really is that the best is yet to come. I believe it. I think we have the tools to go far in the season. And we still have to maintain that reputation of being a standard NFC. Because like I said, there is no team in the NFC that I think can compete with us. Whether or not any team in the AFC can compete with us, the verdict is still out there for that. But in the NFC, nobody is touching us, with all due respect. With all due respect. And I think with getting the guys that I named, with getting them back, I think it'll gel the team a lot stronger together. Having Brandon Graham not only in the locker room, but having him on the field as well is going to really be a big energy boost, not only to the defense, but to the team as a whole. And so we're really going to be getting a different version of the Eagles in this second half. And it's going to be a better version of them. And so be prepared, be scared if if you don't like them. But we're going to be seeing a very, very fine tuned, improved version of this Eagles team. And so, like I said, be prepared for that. It's scary hours incoming. Going into the bye with a record of 6-2, obviously there's a lot to look into with that, but there's a lot to be happy about being 6-2. There's a lot to be happy about having the best record in the NFC. There's a lot to be happy about with your quarterback potentially finishing the season with a strong MVP consideration. The potential of this Eagles team should make you feel elated. As I've been saying, the ongoing theme is that the best is yet to come. And I'm going to continue to say that. Y'all can count how many times I say it in this episode. But the best is yet to come. The best is also yet to come with me as well. Like I said, we're going to be getting right back into our regularly scheduled program. I like what I've been seeing from the Sixers this past opening week, and so be on the lookout for my perspective on that. World Series is also going on as well, and I have my full review of how the Philly season went and really my insights for the league as a whole. Since there is no Eagles this upcoming Sunday, or really for this week, that matter, be on the lookout for my Eagles Packers prediction next week, as there's a lot of thoughts I have for that. It's a big game, upcoming game, and going around the league, we have to talk about the Colts first, who are still maintaining the best record in the AFC while having one of the best offenses in the league as well. Daniel Jones is under center. And so, shout out to Daniel Jones. He's probably going to win the AFC South with the Colts, as that they are my pick for that AFC South title. Moving on to the Bears, who just lost to a dismantled Ravens team. And preseason, you could argue that this was a lock for the Ravens. But with no Lamar Jackson, with really no key players who have been out this season for the Ravens, you thought the Bears would come out on top. But with Lamar back this week, this may shake up the AFC North, as the Steelers lost, the Bengals lost, and the Browns also lost as well. And it's going to get exciting in that division. On to the Jets. Shout out Justin Fields. Shout out Justin Fields. After getting dogged by his owner on a winless Jets team, I should also add, they get their first win of the season. Is this Jets season still a dumpster fire? Yes. But I'm rooting for Justin Fields. I'm not necessarily in favor of getting dogged by your owner publicly, especially. And I'm just rooting for you. So keep balling out this year. Keep playing to your game. And like I like to say, or like Jalen likes to say, keep the main thing the main thing. On to the Browns. I generally wonder what the direction of this Browns franchise is. You paid Myles Garrett a max deal, and you still don't have a complete roster. And year after year after year, you have one of the worst teams in the AFC. And so I genuinely do wonder what is going on in Cleveland. Last but not least, I have to talk about the NFC East as a whole. I remember when we lost that Thursday night. I remember how I felt. I remember how all the talk I heard was from our rivals. Giants fans were talking. Commanders fans were talking. Dallas fans were also talking. It is just a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot that I had to endure from y'all. Whole time, this was really the entire division as a whole. This was y'all Super Bowl. Evidently, the Eagles are in front by at least 3 games in front of every team in our division. And really, I need all of y'all to be humble. Mind the gap in y'all division. And if y'all are going to talk trash to anybody in the division, don't talk trash to us. We're clearly the better team. We're clearly the best team in this division by a long shot. But I feel like any arguments or any debates that y'all want to get in, keep it between y'all 3 teams, please. But that's all I have today. Like I said, be on the lookout for everything Sixers, be on the lookout for everything Eagles Packers, and be on the lookout for Phillies post World Series. Make sure to follow, like, share, all of that. And I'll see y'all next time. Go Birds.